All right. Good afternoon. You've seen the thumbnail, so you know that we need to talk about our country. And there's a lot going on in our country right now. And even though I'm a finance channel, I find it really, really hard not to comment on things like this because it's been all over the news over the past 4 or 5 days. There's a lot of anger, there's a lot of unrest. And I think when these things happen, we have to talk about it. And I have built a bit of a community, a bit of a following here. I feel like it's only right. And I want to talk about the important stuff. I want to talk about the root cause. I want to talk about what's happened so far. I also want to talk about what is going to happen moving forward and how I think that we need to be very, very careful in the steps that we take from now to when things finally come round to happening later on this year when it comes to the financial point of view. Because believe it or not, politics, political decisions, they do have an influence on our finances. I've been covering more politics in regards to monetary policy over the past probably year or so. But even so, this is going to impact our lives. And I'll get to that in a moment. But let's just dive straight in. A lot of unrest, a lot of really unsettling headlines over the past couple of days. I saw one this morning where asylum seekers are now having to, hide in the woods to escape the mob. Now, look, how did this all begin? It all began because a kid, 17 years old, who has my skin color, stabbed three young girls to death in Stockport. Completely unjustifiable, unacceptable, and it cannot be tolerated, should not be tolerated in society. I'm going to open with that so that no one can accuse me of fighting that corner. I'm not in any way, shape, or form. And I think it's important to state that. What's ensued, though, is far right, people using social media with misinformation about the identity of this 17-year-old kid, saying he was a Muslim, he was a immigrant. Yes, his parents are from Rwanda, that he's a Muslim. Rwanda is 98% Christian country. A lot of misinformation. And this has escalated to this demonstration, riots, protests, people smashing up their high streets, smashing up their own communities in protest to the death of three young girls. I'm going to say something now that people are going to not like. And I'm sure I'm going to see it in the comment section. And I'm going to talk about my comment section in a moment because, oh my God, the past week or two, I've seen so much that ties into this topic in my comment section. But I recall back when the Black Lives Matter protest was happening, there was a lot of political effort, there was a lot of social effort to discredit that movement in terms of the fact that it's all about a political agenda that they have. It was overlooked, I feel, largely, that the statement was simply stating that Black Lives Matter too in the context of what happened back then. You had politicians come out and condemn it and delegitimize, I feel, the efforts of the crowd who protested largely peacefully. You fast forward to this situation right here, and I feel like it's the same thing, but it's on the other end of the spectrum. I feel like people have got together, they're angry, they're protesting, they're smashing up their high street, they're rioting, it's violence. I don't necessarily see, though, the same proactive need to delegitimize what these people are protesting against. And let's talk about what they're protesting against. Well, I'm hearing a lot of we want our country back, anti-immigration. And whilst we understand that there needs to be controlled legal immigration in this country, what I struggle with, and maybe you will disagree or agree, I'm sure you're going to tell me in the comment section, I struggle with what is perceived as the situation when it comes to immigration. In my comment section, we talked a lot about taxes and the fact that the Labour Party are going to be putting up taxes this year. We'll talk about this later on in a moment. And people are saying, well, all of these migrants coming into the country, stealing our jobs, blah, 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 blah. Okay, cool. All right. It's illegal immigration. I completely get that's an issue. But we're trying to make it the issue. This country has been facing pension issues around our state pension and how unsustainable it is for years, way before the current state of illegal immigration in this country. I feel like as a society, we have this knack of blaming everything on migrants, on immigration. They come over to steal our jobs. They come over to do this, to do that. And I feel like we really, really need to stare down the barrel of where that narrative comes from. Because do you truly believe that it comes from the bottom up, or does it come from the top down? I.e., the powerful, influential people of this world pillaging, controlling, behind the scenes, tinkering, manipulating the system to their benefit. And because they don't want the attention on them, they ask you to focus it on immigrants who are coming in to take the little that you do have. Really think about this. And I'm not one for conspiratorial thinking, but you have to ask the question. And look, I'm a byproduct of migration. My parents came over to this country in the 1970s. I was born in 1979. I'm 44, 45 this year. I'm a byproduct of migration. I'm a productive byproduct of migration. I pay taxes. I run a company. I've held pretty big jobs. I try to be as impactful in society as possible. And what I feel is that immigration, we need to be clear on what immigration and illegal immigration essentially is. We need to be extremely clear on those matters. But going back to what I started this video with, the conversation around these riots. Much has been said about this person's ethnicity. Much has been said about this boy's religion. Much has been said about where he comes from and whether or not he fits in this country, our country. To the point that I'm seeing videos online where protesters in Middlesbrough, I believe it was, setting up almost like a cordon on the street. And when cars are going by, asking, are you white? If you're not white, what happens? Do you get attacked? So if I lived in Middlesbrough and I'm with my partner or my family trying to get home, what does that mean? I mean, how do we get here? And it feels as though people are using the guise of we're angry, we're frustrated to do this. It's unacceptable. As unacceptable as the killing of those girls was, this is unacceptable in 2024. Now, I get the moral outrage. I get the people are angry. I get the people are pissed off. But here's a contrast. Here's a difference that I really want to highlight. Talk away, chat away in the comment section. Recently, there was also an extra bit of news, another bit of news of someone who killed babies. And I'm talking babies, infants, defenseless babies. She was an NHS nurse. She killed 7 babies, planned to kill a further 7. When that hit the news, where were the riots? Where were the protests? Where were they? Why is it any different to this right now? Because she trained, because she was in a professional environment. She abused her position of power. No riots, no racist comments, no blaming immigration, migrants. Ask yourself what the key difference is there. What's the difference? How is it any different? Now, let me get on to another topic that I think is really important, and we have to address this as a country. I've already spoken about the fact that we are going to see huge tax changes later on in the year. That is coming. The autumn statement is going to be in October. And if you've been following the channel, I've been talking about the fact that with everything that is being spoken about, the money that needs to be raised, the hole that needs to be plugged, it is going to be very, very difficult for them not to touch the taxes that they promised they would not touch. And I'm talking about Labour here, Keir Starmer. I'm talking about Rachel Reeves. In October, we're going to see tax rises. And as a byproduct of that, as she's also withdrawn winter fuel payments, families across this country are going to feel squeezed. We have about 560,000 mortgages coming off fixed rate terms, which will be on low 1-2% rates, going up to 4-5% rate mortgages. You're going to have that with tax increases. People are going to feel squeezed. Now, people are talking about the fact that people feel marginalized, people feel as though they don't have a chance. When this happens in October, all of this is going to be compounded. The way people feel now and how people are going to feel, and the fact that their purse strings are going to be tightened even more, especially for the people who are going to be on low incomes, is going to be tighter. And I want you to remember this because I've said this on the channel a number of times, particularly when it comes to our personal finances. We need to make sure that we do what we can do to control our controllables. People will blame migrants and immigrants for coming in and taking jobs. But we know that there are, 9 million jobs, I think the number is, right now available in the marketplace. Most of those jobs are jobs that a lot of people will deem to be beneath them. Jobs that Eastern Europeans used to do. They're no longer here after Brexit. So talking about we want our country back, you got your country back. Talk about they come over and take our jobs. Well, the jobs are there, but they're not the jobs that you want, potentially. And I want this to be remembered, because in October, when things get tighter, because this country needs to raise more tax receipts, people are going to feel even more hard done by, more maligned, more just disenfranchised. And I fear for what is going to happen then. And so, look, I'm a byproduct of migration. My parents came over here as migrants. I was lucky enough to be born in this country. I've also been lucky enough to live in another country where I have seen the difference between having things and not having anything at all. Yes, many people come to this country for the benefits, but I truly don't believe that if you're a migrant, and you probably won't know this unless you've actually left a country to go to another country for a better life, most of these people do not come over here just to scrounge off benefits. Yes, it might be that starting help me get off the blocks, but a lot of these people will come over and they want to work. They want to contribute to society. They want to build a life of their own. Does that mean we let people in unfettered? No. We need to have a structured migration system. Yeah? Do not get my words twisted here. But at the same time, we have to be understanding of where people come from. And ultimately for me, I talk about personal finance here on this channel. Controlling the controllables is the most important thing. You can pay attention to all of the outside noise. The outside noise is not going to help you solve your problem. You will help yourself solve your problem. And what I find is that those people who often cry foul, like they're not given enough opportunity, are the ones who aren't willing to do the things that they need to do. They're lazy. Lazy people complain about the factors that are impacting them, stopping them from moving forward. And I'm not saying that there aren't external factors that stop you from moving forward, but the smart and the successful people actually find a way to apply themselves to actually move past those challenges. And people will say it's impossible, Pete. No, it's not. No, it's fucking not. And forgive the French, but it's not fucking impossible. Because if it were, I'll still be on the streets. I'll probably be dead by now. So, mindset is really important. And one thing that I've found is in this country, we have weak fucking mindsets, and it pisses me off. If you've been to a place where there is nothing, and when I say nothing, I mean nothing. No running water, no electricity, and you come to a country like this and you see that there is opportunity, people who come to this country feel as though it's a crime not to make the best of themselves. And that does not mean fucking sitting on benefits and scrounging. It means coming over, building something, working fucking hard, and being a productive member of society. Unfortunately, we are now in a generation of people who don't see that opportunity. It's there in front of their fucking face and they don't fucking see it because they don't want to see it, because this is their norm. They're used to the government giving handouts and they're happy just to sit there and receive and blame immigrants for them not being able to get forward, or get ahead in life. And it's pathetic. It just really, really is. And like, I know that this isn't something that you may want to hear, but it is the truth. And so you need to be able to separate this more outrage over kids being stabbed. And again, it is not fucking acceptable, but the response to this has been utterly unacceptable. And it's turned into racism. People with my skin color being attacked, being beaten up on the streets. Why? Why? Where was the fucking outrage when a nurse did this? This is our country. If we're going to survive as a country, we need to be together as people. We need to have a combined, unified effort. And yes, people see things differently, but that is what life is all about. If everyone thought the same, it would be pretty boring, right? So look, I don't know if I have a point to this fucking video. I just wanted to voice my point of view. We need to do better. We need to do better as a country. We need to do better as communities. And I'm so proud of the communities of people who actually stand up and saying, actually, you know what, not in my name. And it's brought some communities together. Those people who have been out rioting and looting, I hope they get the book fucking thrown at them. And as for Nigel Farage and the Reform Party and EDL, all of those fucking twats, I'm waiting for the moment you come out and you condemn all of the riots, all of the protesters who smashed up shops, who destroyed businesses, because you were way too quick, so quick to do that when it came to Black Lives Matter. I wonder fucking why. Because of skin color, because of background, because of culture. Like I said, this is not my normal type of video. I talk about finances here, but I wanted to talk about it. I'm sure there will be lots of dislikes. And look, I get hate all the time in my comment section, people calling me monkey. People tell me that racism is dead in this country. People don't like other people who don't look like them doing well. And that's just the reality of it. I get it so much in my comments. And I'm sure for this video, it will be no different. But look, this is our country at the end of the day. We need to learn how to live together and to do better together. Because if we just blame it on immigrants, you're missing the big fucking point. Because the whole state pension issue, that was happening way before immigration became an issue. Our country was broke way before immigration became an issue. This is stuff that is been a long tail down the road. We are just now reaping the rewards of all of that mismanagement through various governments. And you'll blame it on the Tories, but Labour, prior to the Tories, were also to blame. But anyway, there we go. Catch you later.